Welcome, 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 welcome. That's three welcomes, right? Welcome to the Oxford uh, Sports Pub and Secret Society. We like to focus on the secret society, but we'd like to let you in. I mean, it's not going to be secret for long because this place is awesome.
It is. It
So,
is.
David, David Washington,
Howdy,
Joel
howdy.
Hoxley, and you can't make this shit up.
Can't make this shit up.
I'm just like we could talk all day. We could have people come in and talk all day because the news has been filled. So Jerry Springer just died. Yes.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, Jerry Springer just died. So I was reading that over there.
Oh wow, Joel, I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
I didn't know
Wow.
he had a home in Sarasota. That's something I didn't know. But
Was his show still broadcasting or no?
I don't know. I just was
Did
it's all over
they
Twitter. It's like
did they give a cause of death?
not yet.
Wow.
So he's not. I mean,
Former Cincinnati mayor.
could have been COVID. I'm sorry. This is a guy that used to pay people to come on his show and beat each other up.
Holy cow! I mean, that was the modern day, broadcast TikToks and social.
Oh
media
yeah, no,
fights,
this is yeah. This is what kids consume every second now, instead of
right.
that 1 hour to.
Right.
It might have been longer than an hour, but
And he was broadcasting out of Chicago, so
mhm,
that was cool.
yeah, I was like,
And wow, I watched some of the more recent shows, and it's like cringeworthy.
so people will watch this show like a year from now, and they would not have known that Jerry Springer died. They'll be like, "Oh my God, he just
What?
died."
Wow,
That's how podcasts work.
I mean, he brought all types of people to his show, and
Yeah, you want to talk about diversity?
boy, did he give us diversity. And I don't know if there's like uncut versions of his show.
I know you've been sleeping with these three women, so we want to find out who the baby belongs to. You can't make this shit up. It's true.
His show was definitely one of those you can't make that shit up.
In this envelope, we will reveal.
Oh, you're here to tell your boyfriend that you've been sleeping not only with your boyfriend's father, but also his brother and uncle.
Oh no, 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 no. Your stepdaughter is sleeping with her uncle, brothers, and the stepdad. I mean, you can't, but we want to make sure. And she just, well, she wants to tell you that she doesn't know who the baby belongs to. So we're here because she wants to ask you to give up that little DNA.
I'm just thinking of some of the episodes, like adult men in diapers,
Oh
acting
yeah,
like babies, and the women wrestlers and
yeah.
Jello,
Jerry
and
Springer,
stripper.
Jerry Springer on YouTube right now is going freaking nuts. I mean, I guarantee you, it's just like Apple Music when an artist dies. It's like everybody wants to get because it's just running right through my head too. And I'd watch it like occasionally, but it used to go, oh my God, I feel icky when you left.
Right, exactly. Or at the end of the show when the audience have their say.
Oh yeah,
And they call out the people who show up and talk, and just like,
I think you're a whore. And it's like, what?
Talk about their mothers and how they look.
So, David, on another serious note, now that we're off, minimum wage, always a topic of discussion, especially with the Democrats. But it is a conversation for the Republicans right now because they've introduced a bill.
Yes, House Bill 917.
917. I'm looking at the bill right now.
Will prohibit local living wage ordinances like the one that was recently passed in St. Petersburg and Miami-Dade County.
Yep, that's what it is.
It will allow Major League Baseball teams like the Chicago Cubs to pay minor league players less than the minimum wage.
I don't see that, so I'm looking for that.
That was from Lawrence Maurer from the Herald Times, Tallahassee Bureau, in his article that I pulled this from.
Okay, no, I'm
But
just I'm looking
yeah,
at the
but
bill and trying to figure
this
that
will
one out.
allow teams like the Chicago Cubs to continue to pay their minor league players the minimum, less than the minimum wage,
Well, if
and
that's the
this
case,
has its effect across the whole labor market.
if that's the case, I mean, it was only $1 million, so how much is he saving? If that's the truth, he must be saving an awful lot because the Cubbies owner gave $1 million after this was introduced, just introduced.
Introduced,
So,
right?
I mean, we can always compare like when things happen, but sometimes that's not the case. But
And minimum wage is minimum wage, which is at what, $15 statewide or something like that.
no, $15 is what it will be.
Okay,
We voted on it to go up to 15.
right. Okay,
So again, I love our party when they decide that local government can't do their job.
and minimum wage is $11. I'm sorry, per hour.
Yeah, but it's on a trajectory. It has to make 15 by a certain year. I
Right.
can't remember.
Right.
I can't remember. I didn't come prepared for minimum wage full conversation. But
Mhm.
listen, it's crazy. Minimum wage. It's the stupidest thing that ever. It's the stupidest thing it's the
Right.
stupidest thing in the entire world.
And we've had this conversation specifically about having a livable wage. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
using one
No. You will hear from me. This is
comparable to where
right.
the demographic and where they live.
I'm also listen. If you pay minimum wage here at $11 an hour, and you pay somebody in Mississippi $11 an hour, you'll live in two different lives, people.
That's true.
Two totally different lives.
That's true.
You're struggling down here in Mississippi.
You're rich.
You might as well take and go to the movies every weekend because you can afford it.
Mm-hmm.
So minimum wage is. I don't know if the bill really does anything more. This is what pisses me off about the bill. I'm not a fan of minimum wage. You know that. Big time.
Correct.
I think you make a whole lot more money if there wasn't minimum wage. I think
Right.
a lot more people be able to stay home with their children. So that's a whole conversation. But right here, this pisses me off is we have legislators that are actually, we send them up to Tallahassee to do a job. Republicans are about small government. I want my local government doing more than my state government. I want my state government doing less or more than the federal government.
Right.
And then I don't want
How
the
it should
federal
be.
and I don't want the federal government handing me money and telling me I have to do this. And I don't want the state to say, hey, you can't do that. Listen, those businesses that are affected will move out.
That's true.
I mean, why do they get their tight panties in a wad or something?
Mhm.
And it just crazy. Let this naturally play out.
Okay.
How does it affect? Oh, because these two counties did it, every other county we can do it. There's 67 counties, and 67 counties can't afford this because they know if they drive business out, they're not going to have, not going to be able to have a government at all. Everybody else is going to move out.
So this bill will stop local governments from establishing
implementing their own
level of minimum wage.
Right.
Or
I mean, I would, if this bill said, okay, we put a percentage on it,
Mhm.
maybe don't let it go, disparably. Don't go to 15 when you're at,
right, the cost of inflation, maybe tagged
Right,
to
something
the,
like
the
that.
consumer price index
Yeah,
or something like
I don't
that.
have a problem with a bill that fixes something or gives a little bit of limitation. But I would just say, like, you can't do for the business, you can't do a 5% increase
Mhm.
over what the state is.
Like the rent stabilization.
Well, that's also there. The rent
The efforts.
stabilization. Listen, they can't. We have in Orange County, we have a department that deals with that. What is
Are we talking about
the brand new
tenant advocacy
Yeah, the brand new group that just came in.
office.
It's
Okay.
being funded by the local government. It helps in disputes and all that stuff. But
Oh, okay.
but
Okay.
what's going to
That's what they
happen?
do.
But what's going to happen to that is another bill that's been introduced will get, will say you can't have that.
Mhm.
You can't have that because it's infringing on somebody's right. Or listen, if a local county does something, don't need to react.
Okay.
Uh, Listen, it only hurts or helps the place that it's at.
It and I understand for those who champion the preemption at the state level for hoping for consistency across all 67 counties.
It's yeah.
However, when you just say no to this, no to that, and leave the status quo, knowing that people are suffering, that's the problem I have.
I just want to know why. What scared us enough as Republicans that we would go against our principle of smaller government? I mean, I'm dying right this second because you can't make this shit up.
Right.
Like, I've always preached smaller government, local government. Your committee man, you should know who they are. You should be shaking their hand. You should be talking to them because they can do more for you than anybody else.
Mhm.
What does this do? No, I have to now go to Tallahassee, which only meets for three freaking months. And what am I going to do? I'm going to sit there and you're going to take this away from me, take this away from me. If the voters, now I'm going to say, if the voters voted for it, that's even worse. That's even worse because the voters asked for
Right.
something. Now, if the courts come in, you can't, it pisses you off. But this is you going up there and being all, I don't have a bill to present. I'm going to put this one in.
Mhm.
That's this bullshit. It's not a Republican bill. It's
Right.
not. And whoever that is, if that's the way our party's going, shame on you. Shame on you.
It seems that they've been headed in that direction since the day one of this new session. And again, I'm perplexed by the fact that conservatives, Republicans traditionally have talked about and championed small government, less government.
Yeah, that's what.
Let the free market play itself out.
Why do you think I'm against? Why am I against minimum wage? Because I think if you're doing things right, people will invest to get better.
Mm-hmm.
There is not a company owner that is going to push, somebody out that's doing a good job. Here's the thing. You start a job as a teenager. No, not now. You can't do that anymore because parents don't want their kids working, I guess, because we had to get workers permits at, for 16 years old to be able to work. I don't see any 16-year-olds working anywhere, but they
Really?
probably are. They probably are.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe more than used to be at Publix. I saw more than now.
Right.
Now it's senior citizens because they have to supplement their Social Security or something.
I see folks at here at the Altamont Springs Mall. Some young people, 16. I don't know about that. I've seen them at Publix though, quite young. The Publix near me.
Yeah, the reason you had that was so you could start
In Walmart.
early, and you could do. Now there's a lot of rules. It's really hard to hire somebody that has to take a break every 30 minutes and 15-minute break every 30 minutes. There's a lot of rules. I may be exaggerating.
Tri-state government.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that's what we're talking about. That's exactly what we're talking about. It's like, you need to do that again because that's exactly what we're talking about.
And I can say that because I worked in state government here in Florida and in Illinois. So I know.
It's just annoying me. And I don't like to be annoyed with my own party.
Right.
I mean, let's go back and look.
Relieving my shoulders of that.
Well, I mean, if we continue, if we continue this way, both parties trying to destroy themselves, but which one does it first? That's just what's happening right now.
We'll find out in 2024.
Well, you can't take Florida as the measuring stick.
Yeah, you can't. You really can't.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Because Florida is unique. It's beautiful. got everybody. It's the melting pot. It's
It's got a
the
lot of older folks moving from Illinois, the Midwest,
Yeah.
to the Northeast, New York,
uh,
ready to soak in the sun
See,
and
here's
sit
what-
back and
here's what happens.
retire.
This is what happens, David. I grew up in Massachusetts, and now that's called tax of two shits. If you didn't understand that, so tax of two shits, right? It taxes you on everything, and you got an excise tax. So that is a tax that you have to pay every time you register your car.
Right.
It's like, and it fluctuates. It's different for everybody.
Okay.
So if you have a Rolls Royce, you're
You're gonna
paying
pay more.
You're gonna pay more.
Sure.
But I figure you already paid the taxes on the car. Why would you have to pay the taxes on the value of the car? I mean, I just don't get that. And
When you-
Georgia
when
does
you-
it.
when
Georgia
you-
does
when
it
you
too.
purchase the car, yeah, Georgia does it too. But when you purchase the car, or is this a yearly?
This is
excise
every
tax?
year. Every year they charge you an excise tax
So,
when
like,
you
you-
register your car. Every time you register your car,
Do you get like a tag or something like
yeah,
that?
you get a license plate,
Okay,
or you have the license plate sticker.
sticker, right? So this is.
Have
the
you ever
sticker.
paid? Have you ever paid $350 for a sticker?
No,
Okay, well,
don't plan on it.
don't go to Massachusetts then.
Mercy.
Don't go to listen. I was a soldier, and the difference between what I paid for my plate, because I was in the service and I got signed off on the paperwork, so I paid $25 in the state of Georgia to get my tag renewed,
Mhm.
because every tag is renewed at exactly the same time.
Mhm.
My buddy is a Georgia resident. He can't do it even though he's in the service, because he's in Georgia, and his was $230 because he had a nice car.
So the following year is taxed at a lower rate because of the value of the car.
Yeah, the
is-
value of cars eventually going to go down unless you get a new car.
Like, that's it.
I'm just saying, I'm not getting a brand new car. You wanted it, and then because we're not buying new cars, because we're preventing ourselves from buying new cars, because we don't want to have to pay a fortune. You know what that means? We have to have an emissions added to it. So now you
Right.
have to bring your car in for inspection, and then you bring it. Where do you bring it? You bring it to a garage. The garage has the right to inspect your thing, your
So
car.
a privately owned garage.
Yeah, they'll have a sticker on the building, or they'll have a thing on the building that says that they're
Certified
approved.
state.
You know, like Nikki Free's picture on there. But you get there and you get on the machine and they start. It's not even. But I haven't been there in a long time. It's probably all changed. But you would drive into the garage. You drive in the garage. You park on this thing. You have to drive. The
Yeah,
wheels start going.
Illinois
and
had that.
it's-
Yes.
And I'm like watching this thing, and I always fail the first time.
Ooh.
But if I take it to another person, I'm gonna fail again. I wonder what that's all about. I don't understand why I had to pay for a new muffler or a new catalytic converter, or I'm not helping the
Wow.
environment enough because my car's older. Listen, if you don't get you on the excise tax, they get you on something else.
Right.
No, this is again, I think the whole discussion here, even though it's about minimum wage, and I always go off track, but listen, I want to send the message up to Tallahassee that if you're going to be a rhino,
Right.
I've been called a rhino because I'm still a Republican.
Right.
So if you want to be a rhino, then get out of the party. Go back over to the Democrats. Help them over there, because I don't need you. If that's the help you're going to give me, bigger government, more regulation.
But do you think that the Democrats would have submitted a bill like this?
Like this?
Correct.
No, they would opposite.
What would they do?
They would make it that every county should have it.
A minimum wage.
Yeah. I mean, that's how the Democrats work. The
Mhm.
Democrats love the minimum wage.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't get it, because I really don't get it. There's three tiers of working. There's the entry level job.
Okay.
An entry level job today, people are trying to push it off as a living wage.
No.
No, you shouldn't be a living wage, but you're living off that wage. I'm working 2 or 3 jobs, because you're working 2 or 3 jobs that are entry level, preventing somebody younger or somebody not experienced to learn.
To learn those skills.
Right.
Okay.
So now you can't get into the market because those jobs have been taken.
Right. By people who
They need them. I'm not saying they don't need
right
them,
who need the jobs,
but
and
then there
however
should
they're
be
beyond that
you need to
level.
go to the middle tier. And I think the majority of our country would be in that middle tier,
Okay.
right? If you want to set it, then set the middle tier as a living wage. It has to be a living wage because that's a job that you're going to try to stay in that job. It's a management job, or it's not entry level. It's not flipping burgers, people.
Mhm.
You flipped your burgers. Now take over the store. I mean, come on. This is we are complacent. We are happy where we are, and then we want to attack the rich, right? But then you should have an executive wage, right? An executive shouldn't be paid the minimum, the middle, right? They
I,
deserve more. But this is
I like
crazy.
the idea of tagging the minimum wage to the CPI or some algorithm that is tied to that metropolitan area or rural area that's compensates the person, the worker, for the environment in which they live in.
But see, David.
With a basement,
Mhm.
with a foundation,
But what you
a
just said.
starting
But what you just
salary.
said is exactly how I feel.
Right.
Right. My
I
feeling
agree with
is
that. I like
if
that
you're
idea.
in New Hampshire
Mhm.
and you're paying, you know, going to Massachusetts and working just to pay less, which happens.
Mhm.
They have no sales tax. I mean, they have no income tax
Okay.
in New Hampshire. I mean, why would you go from Massachusetts up to New Hampshire to work and then come back?
No.
I mean, because your dollar goes further because you have less taxes out of it.
Right.
Look, this we can go on and on and on, but it's got to be like you said, it's economics, right? If you're living in a community like we're struggling in Orlando,
Yes, we are.
we have had an increase that was been so rapid. It's even been with the rents going up and all the eggs going up. It's been exponential here, right?
That's correct.
It's not even normal that I see.
Right.
As
Gas was sitting at 375 for several weeks.
yeah, I mean it just popped up that was a quarter. It went up like at
Yes, it
least a
did.
quarter.
Yes, it
I
did.
woke up that it was like no, it's about 20 cents. Well, I woke up it was 3:55
Mm.
on that Thursday, and then I went to go get gas on Friday, and it was 3.75. I was like,
Stay there.
what?
And stay
And
there.
it did. I think one place dropped it a penny.
And Joel, I mean, you said, going up to Tallahassee and saying, "Hey, wake up! This ain't right." There are institutions like unions that advocate for workers.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Traditionally, they
They're
have.
supposed to.
Traditionally, they have.
I mean, that's a full-time job. I mean, the only reason you do anything is to try to make sure that you're getting people to get onto the union because you're trying to make sure you get paid. It's totally different nowadays.
And there are unions here in Florida that are active, and they are active on behalf of their
Guys, I love you if you're
workers.
in it. I love you if you're in the union. Don't get me wrong, but why would you pay taxes 3 times?
I don't understand when you mean pay taxes 3 times.
Well, I'm paying taxes to the state. I'm paying taxes when I purchase something. Why would I give the union more money, which is taxes, basically another tax?
It's a membership.
No, it's a tax.
It's a membership.
It's a tax.
It's a membership.
It's another.
You
it's
pay
a
your union dues to
again. Go to Massachusetts.
to allow the union to negotiate for you for
Only
contracts. They negotiate for better living standards.
you're supposed to.
Or they negotiate for better health care,
Supposed to.
life insurance, salary, worker protections. I don't see that
How
I
they
don't see
doing?
how that's a
How
tax.
how they doing? How they doing here in Florida?
So not that good.
I was gonna say I
Not that
just kind of
good.
went up to
It's
Tallahassee. I'm like going up at that.
it's the
So
right to it's the
so
right to
you
work
so
laws.
yeah so you're pushing money. You're pushing money into something that is
They are afforded
ineffective.
they're afforded some protections. I mean there are unions here who like local 737 who have actively negotiated on behalf of their hospitality workers with the Disneys, with the hotels for better living conditions, or not living conditions, working conditions, and better salary. They've been successful. I
Well,
can't say that for every union. I cannot speak for
no,
every union, but I don't see a membership dues as a
I do.
tax. I see it as an insurance policy to provide me with the benefits that I believe I deserve, the protections that unions
And if
have
okay,
fought for.
so if that was the case, right? Which I'm saying most of them don't anymore. I'm saying that's totally that's not where they do anymore. Like they tried to force my mother because she was a teacher into the union. And the state Supreme Court said you can't do that. But the union still has to protect you. So now you can be the union's still going to protect you, but you don't have to pay them.
Right, and so
So that
she'll get the type of protection that she paid for.
no, she'll be protected by the union
She'll get
because
the type of protection that she pays for.
no, she won't because it's not forced on her anymore.
Right,
And
and
plus,
so why should the union protect her?
because it's the law in Massachusetts.
Okay, so a union steward will show up for her and advocate at the very least for someone who doesn't
That's what you
contribute
say.
to the better.
But that's what you say, and that would be grounds to put a lawsuit against the union. And then if you're going to have to pay more dues because by the time I'm done suing, listen,
by the time you're done suing, she's out of a job.
well, my mom's
Well, I'm just
my mom's 6 feet under the ground right now.
Right. But I'm saying this scenario.
Yeah, but she retired and she did the same thing that all these other people do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she was getting paid really good money. She was Massachusetts paid teachers with 2 master's degree very good.
Yes,
She retired.
they deserved it.
She
It's tough work.
my mother deserved like she worked with emotionally disturbed kids and she had to come home to me. My mom needed like something like
she deserves sainthood.
oh she
If she had to deal with you, that's
absolutely.
sainthood.
So I mean, sanctimony. Listen, I could go into a whole different conversation. You read my book, Bringing America Together Again, and you can find out about my mother. Very little because I didn't go into that site, but you can learn how miserable a child I was. No, I don't talk. I try to stay off myself because it's about local government. But that's why this is so fiery right now.
Oh, hey, I am right there with you. I think it's government overreach. It goes against everything that, again, traditional Republicans have talked about in the past and harped on. You know, we want government so small we could drown it in a bathroom tub.
Listen,
Grover Rehnquist. No, not Rehnquist. Norquist.
You're not gonna get an argument on that one. But regulations, like over-regulating, a business that's over-regulated can't function because it's spending money. It's spending money on something that's forced on them.
Sure.
And you lose an employee. It's like, okay, I could have hired one man. No, I'll always say one because you never know. But even if it's one employee, an employee is the biggest cost to any company.
Of course.
That's and you want to make as many of those that make good money, and then you come in and you put all these regulations on that company. And I'm not saying that this is the point that why we say it this way, right? This is why we've always looked at it this way. We want more people employed. We don't want people sitting on welfare. We don't want people to, not enjoy their life, but we want them to be able to get more jobs, right?
Right.
Not work more jobs, get more jobs. Take some of that burden off them. Maybe they can do it. But I'm not talking like environmental stuff. I'm not talking nickels and dimes. I'm talking big stuff. No, I'm not talking little stuff. When you
Right.
put regulations in to protect people, like the FDA, Republican, uh, the Environmental Protection Agency, you put those things in place so you have oversight, so that the executive branch can look and have a view of that, and the Congress can use that part of the government to assist them in oversight.
Right.
So
At least set a standard, like with the EPA.
no, I don't.
I don't want my water to taste and look like shit.
No, no. You want Flint water.
I want Flint water.
No, I want Winter Springs water now.
There we go.
It's
more
closer.
local. More
It's
local.
closer in my backyard. So,
Oh mercy.
so I mean, look, I don't want to ramble. I'm just saying to my peoples,
His peeps.
David agrees. Let's stop this. Like, let's stop this insanity. Let's be smaller government. Why don't you all get your jobs in your city commissions?
Right.
Hey, you could be like Buddy Dyer. I mean, Buddy Dyer's like going on his 6th term. Look at local government's great government because they didn't term him. If you do it right, you could be there forever. Hey, look at Lee Constantine. Without term limits, he's been
right.
up here just living.
The people like him.
The people like him because he's an environmentalist and he's got a Republican tag. He's never gotten rid of.
He's doing his job. People care about that.
Yep, I love it. He's always the last person. He's always late. I love it. And you always know he came in the room, so it's like you can't miss him. And all done on plan. So again, you can't make this shit up, David. The Republican Party has decided that your local government can't do anything that they don't like.
It's unfortunate. It's the reality. It's the reality that we live in. But it's what we do. Is we try to change that. And again, we want the best people with the best ideas representing their communities, and that's what J&W does. We put those people, those issues, up front and center for the community, to work for the community, by the community.
Cool. Agree or disagree? You can't make this shit up.
You can't. That's Joel. I'm David. We're J&W. You can't make this shit up. Till the next time.